Statistics is very important. Important decisions are made looking at these numbers and how they are represented. If somebody has an agenda, they can use these numbers, manipulate them to provide false proofs to their case. It might be something as cheesy as this diagram where average female heights are shown and it clearly looks to be very strange. Or it could be something as serious as climate change, where somebody can say that climate change is a hoax if we look at some manipulated data. Hi, I'm Suhail. I'm new to YouTube and I make videos about things that I find interesting. And one of the things that I'm interested is in data and how data can be used for various agenda, may it be good or even bad. So one of the ways used to lie using data, manipulate the scale. As we saw earlier, this graph shows the heights of various females, where the Indian female height seems to be very small compared to others. But if we look closely at the height graph and where it starts, so it doesn't start at 0. It starts at a prefixed value, and the diagrams are not to scale because they start at lower value. And this right now is very simple to identify and makes clear sense. But if somebody had a bad agenda, maybe not female height or maybe something else, something that important decisions are based out of, so they could change, instead of starting at 5, maybe start at 1 or 2, and the differences in height would not be so prominent that we would ignore them. Latest NOAA data shows no global warming for 8 years despite 450 billion tons of CO2 emitted since 2015. Looking at the graph, the claim that he makes is true. If we look from 2015 to 2022, it does look like there has been a downward trend, not a global warming but a global cooling of 0.11 degrees per decade. But this is a manipulated graph. If you just scroll down to the top comment, it looks like these data points have been selected. If this was the part of the graph that person was referring to, where the global cooling, wow, so much cooling, yeah. But if we look at historically from 1923, there is a general trend of global warming. If you can cherry pick data for every X amount of years, you can show that there's no global warming happening in the past X years. And this is a case of selective sampling, where if you take a selective sample, you can prove anything that you want using a graph. Another way data is used to manipulate using misleading averages. Suppose somebody says the average household income in the past 5 years has increased by 10%. It doesn't mean that all houses' income have increased by 10%. It could very well be the case that of the rich billionaires, their income has increased by maybe 20% or 30%, but the lower half or the middle class or the poor class, their income has reduced even. But if you take the average of the whole, it might show that the average income has increased by 10%. So to represent data properly, each segment of the society has to be taken separately and their income increase measured appropriately. Misleading correlation. The trend of Y is increasing and the trend of X was also increasing. So that's why, because of X, Y happened, which might not be the case. So to give a silly examples, so we see that the sales of ice cream is increasing and also the number of forest fires are increasing. So the conclusion made is more ice creams lead to more forest fires, which is absurd. It could be the case that it's just summer and people are buying more ice cream, and also the rise in temperature causes forest fire. So the cause of both of these is just summer and not that one caused the other. So these are some of the ways in which data is used to lie or manipulate you. Be aware of these and try to avoid these pitfalls and be well informed. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.